Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 82. The disciples are back from the Piggly Wiggly, and Jesus has a lesson for them. So we're in John chapter 4. Basically, this is a long chapter about the Samaritan woman, and in the middle, after she sort of gets gobsmacked by revelation about Jesus saying that he's the Messiah, she runs off back to town. The disciples have just arrived from going to buy food, so they're standing there with their bags of groceries from the Piggly Wiggly. And then this happens. This little section happens, this little subsection. This is from John chapter 4. We're going to start in verse 30 maybe. The woman says, "Come, see a man who told me all that I did. Can this be the Christ?" And they went out of town and were coming to him. So this is the woman fetching other people. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, back with the disciples, verse 31, meanwhile, the disciples were urging him, saying, "Rabbi, eat." Now that makes sense because Jesus sent them away, 12 guys on a shopping trip, make room for this woman, I think, actually. But they come back, their arms are full of bags of groceries. And of course they say, "Hey, we went shopping. Why? Because you were weary and probably hungry. Eat." And then they find themselves in the middle of this spiritual encounter with both the Samaritan woman and her friends and her city. And he just does this little aside. And he says, but he said to them, "I have food to eat that you do not know about." So the disciples said to one another, "Has anyone brought something to eat?" So they're confused. They're on the food train here. Jesus said to them, "My food is to do the will of him who sent me and to accomplish his work." Do not say there are yet 4 months when it comes to the, do you not say there are yet 4 months when it comes to the harvest? Look, I tell you, lift up your eyes and see that the fields are white for harvest. Already the one who reaps is receiving wages and gathering fruit for eternal life, so that sower and reaper may rejoice together. For here the saying holds true, one sows, another reaps. Verse 38, I sent you to reap that for which you did not labor. Others have labored, and you entered into their labor. So the disciples here come back, bags of groceries, say eat, and the Father and Jesus uses food to point to evangelism and to point to the relationship from which evangelism comes. We're all evangelists for something or other. And in verse 34, he gives this food definition. My food is. That is to agree and engage and participate, to do the will of the Father, and to be in relationship with him. So there's a relationship of this Trinity party, and then there's the action that takes that launches off from that. That is that we are to be acting, and as Jesus was, acting like you're in a relationship. And how often, so this is where the food part, obsession with food in this little section, comes in. That is, it should be a regular, daily, hourly, frequent kind of a thing. It should be our habit. And so how often should we be thinking about this, involved in this? Well, basically, as often as you eat, or maybe if you want to see it the other way, between meals. So I just had breakfast here. So by the time I have lunch, from now until the time I have lunch, or the next time I eat, or even have a snack, second breakfast, as it says in Lord of the Rings, that I should be involved in this part of the Lord, harvesting, and that's either planting or harvesting later. So there's this action to do now, and there's an action to do later. And I think there's a little bit of a rebuke. Just open your eyes to the disciples. That stuff is ready right now for spiritual work, spiritual harvest. So that it might be on the front end, that is maybe planting, or it might be on the back end, that is harvesting. So somewhere at the beginning where you're planting trees that others likely will harvest, or do you enter into their labor, as it says in verse 38, which is harvest from trees you did not plant? And that's what he tells the disciples they're going to be involved with. So wake up, lift your eyes, open up your eyes. Things are happening here in the Samaritan land, in Samaria, our enemies and spiritual knuckleheads. But look, they're ready. How do we know that? Well, the rest of the passage, I just read you the part in between the passage where the Samaritan woman comes, the light bulb goes on for her. And then in just a second, her people will come to there, and it says many people will believe. So they're smack dab in the middle of a harvest, and the disciples don't even realize it. So my prayer for us, for you and me today is, Lord, give me eyes to see between now and the time that I eat again. Give me eyes to see what is going on. Give me harvest. Give me the harvest, or give me the planting, or give me the tending. Give me people. It is your precious people that we are harvesting. Give me the strength to do work and the wisdom to do it efficiently, smartly. And of course, Lord, I just give you dependency that you are the one that gives the growth. Help me to be on mission today, between meals, between spiritual meals. Help me keep my hand on the plow and be a harvester maybe, or a planter. And give me faithfulness. Just think about the rest of the day that's ahead of me and the regularity of food. May my involvement in this spiritual process be as regular. I know, Lord, that we are all evangelicals. Help us to be involved in your planting and reaping of your kingdom and your word and your message. Let this be of you. Let it be love, joy. Help me to work patiently. Lord, help me to use food to remind me to regularly be involved in this harvest. Thanks, Lord. Thanks for my brothers and sisters. See you tomorrow.